For our views across Africa and the rest of the world, this is NC Continental Prime. I am Dakbo Adigboyi. We begin in West Africa, where Nigeria's former President Muhammadu Buhari has publicly declared his unwavering support for the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress. The reaffirmation of Buhari's commitment to Tinubu's leadership comes amidst a backdrop of political developments and signals a continued alliance with the APC. Buhari made this affirmation during the book launch event of his former special advisor on media, Femi Adesina. The event showcased the unveiling of a book titled Working with Buhari, a comprehensive series titled Muhammadu Buhari, The Nigerian Legacy, 2015 to 2023, volumes 1 to 5, which delves into Buhari's 8 years in office. Let's head to eastern Nigeria, where Monday's inauguration of Hope Uzodinma as the governor of Imo State for his second term had many national dignitaries in attendance, including the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the Nigerian leader in a speech at the occasion spoke about the state of the nation and the government's plan to fix things. Chinwe Ogele sought the opinion of some citizens of the state on the speeches of both the president and the governor. Have report.
People gathered and traveled from near and wide was to witness the swearing-in ceremony of Governor Hope Uzodinma for his second term in office.
But as the governor of Imo State, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the swearing-in ceremony which took place at the Dananyam Stadium in Owerri had advised Governor Hope Uzodinma to ensure he worked towards the recovery and development of the state's economy. The president also commended the government and people of the state for the security that is now in existence.
I'm glad we are showing a very united country and moving forward.
Based on the security report given to him by security agencies, he doesn't live in Imo State. As far as I'm concerned, people from certain part of Imo State still find it difficult. They are still afraid of traveling to their village.
He appealed for understanding of the masses on the fuel subsidy removal and congratulated the people for choosing Uzodinma as their governor.
Don't worry about what you're hearing about the Japa syndrome. We will train more people. And then we can supply themselves.
People are leaving this country. What is behind this Japa syndrome? Those who are in government employ are not paid very well. And it has also affected so many other people that run private organizations. They don't pay their workers very well. So this is the cause of the Japa syndrome, and it should be addressed.
For choosing Uzodinma as their governor. In his address earlier, after taking the oath of office, Governor Hope Uzodinma, before notable citizens from different parts of the country, declared that his second-term journey will be even more impactful on the Imo citizens following a development plan already in place for the state.
Through the provision of extensive road infrastructure, we've been able to lay a solid foundation for the accelerated economic growth and development of our state.
But in the circumstance belonging to insecurity in Imo State, that happens to be one of the greatest challenge. Let him stop making issues or making to further, bring in more hands to him.
The governor also used the occasion to call on aggrieved Imo people to bury their differences and work collectively with him to develop the state. In Omahefo News Central, Chinwe Ogele.
Let's move to security matters now, where the Minister of Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory has accused Area Council chairmen of abdicating their responsibilities, thus the escalating insecurity challenges being witnessed in the capital. The minister, during a security meeting with heads of the security agencies and council chairpersons over the rise in kidnapping in the capital, says efforts will be put in place to end the scourge of kidnapping. Now, News Central's Amadine Uyi tells us more.
With kidnappings in the FCT notably on the rise, the case of Nabia Al-Qadriya, a 400-level student of the Ahmadu Bello University, who was recently killed by kidnappers after her abduction and her family's inability to pay a 60 million naira ransom, many Nigerians have expressed anger over the inability of security operatives to do anything to stop the scourge. The military recently attempted to allay the fears of residents, saying operations have commenced in the area and assuring that the kidnappers will be brought to book.
I'll say that operations are ongoing to root out activities of these extremists posing a threat to the FCT following recent reports. As I speak to you, operations are ongoing at those locations. In the last 1 week, we have arrested several of them, and they are providing intelligence to support our operations.
This, however, has not had much results, as it has not relieved the tension being experienced by residents. The Minister of Nigeria's Federal Capital recently summoned heads of security agencies and area council chairmen of the 6 area councils within Abuja over the insecurity situation being experienced.
All of us are aware of the security situation in the Federal Capital Territory, particularly Buhari and some other areas that were witnessed security challenges.
He assured residents that there is no need to panic, saying efforts will be put in place to nip kidnapping in the bud.
We owe a duty to make sure that this place is safe. We'll do all we can, and we assure Nigerians who reside here that there's no need for panic. We are taking every step to make sure that those challenges are things that we must have to resolve.
The minister, however, took a swipe at area council chairmen, accusing them of abdicating from their duties and responsibilities. He says many of them remain absentee chairmen who are never found at their places of assignment.
We have gotten reports that council chairmen travel anytime, and then if anything happens, of course, they will not call anybody's name. They will call the FCT minister.
With promises made to address the FCT's insecurity challenges, many residents will be hoping that the federal capital becomes safer. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Ahmed Musa Hussaini, a public affairs commentator, joins me on the news to unpack this latest development. Thank you so much for your time, Ahmed.
Thank you.
All right, now in response to the, of course, very, very sad security situation in the Federal Capital Territory, what specific challenges or trends have contributed to the rise in incidents such as kidnappings and banditry, and how does this impact the overall safety of residents in the state?
All right, thank you. I think the security situation in Abuja has been deteriorating not over the past, say, 8 years. And I think I'm happy with the approach of the new minister of the FCT, who's been trying to be more proactive. There's something that we've been complaining, whether in terms of, the basic, security infrastructure within the Federal Capital Territory, or in terms of, supporting security agencies. As you know, people have been complaining, like I think the former minister or the former administration, I think, has more or less abandoned the security infrastructure in the FCT. The street lights were not working, and so the issue of influx of people from other parts of the country to Abuja in search of livelihoods actually leads to some kind of population pressure on the city, and these are all things that provide some avenues for criminal activities to actually fester. But the unique challenge of kidnapping that we are facing, and I keep saying it, Abuja is actually within the kidnapping belt of the country as it borders the states of Nasarawa, Kogi, Niger, and Kaduna. which all of them have been suffering from kidnapping and banditry to some extent. So I think it's a kind of not just an isolated case of the FCT, but it is a national issue. But it is more, it's a national issue. But for it to be happening in Abuja, it's actually both politically embarrassing because this is supposed to be the most secure part of the country, where the political class, the elites, the leadership have been living. But then if it is not secure, then it's difficult to say if there's anywhere in Nigeria that is safe.
All right. I mean, I would like to take a cue from part of the things the minister said in that emergency meeting, and he took a swipe at the area council chairman, accusing them of abdicating their responsibilities, amongst other issues. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, there are two sides to this kind of argument. Number one, we need to ask ourselves if the area council chairman have been empowered to be able to carry out their responsibilities. Because the problem we are having with local government administration generally in Nigeria is most of those local governments are not empowered financially and administratively for them to actually perform their crucial role of safeguarding their communities. Because these area councils or local government, they are closest to the grassroots. And the more we've been able to empower them, the more we can be able to adequately tackle challenges at the grassroots before even they blossom or become even national or widespread issue. So these are the questions that we need to ask. Have they been empowered to perform their duties? If they are not, then we need to actually ask or demand that the relevant authorities empower them with the financial and administrative, autonomy for them to actually conduct their, to carry out their responsibilities adequately.
All right. Now, what role do you see the emergency meeting playing in actually fostering collaboration between relevant security agencies, local authorities, and of course, community leaders to address the root cause of the insecurity and also implement effective countermeasures in the state?
All right. So yeah, you talk about addressing the root causes. I think addressing the root causes, we must actually look at the core issues behind this kind of challenges, which revolves around developmental issues, youth unemployment, increase in poverty, lack of opportunities for young people. These are all some of the kind of push factors that actually push people towards this kind of criminal activities. And then secondly, there is the need for collaboration between security agencies, local stakeholders, and all relevant stakeholders in ensuring that these challenges are prevented. Because first we need to establish that preventive or deterrent capability. We need to ensure that we need to send a kind of message to the criminals or to the non-state actors that are actually perpetrating these criminal activities that they are not able to, or they cannot be able to get out with their crimes. So if the government establishes that deterrence, then that's only the way where you can actually encourage local stakeholders, the local communities to actually collaborate with security agencies in reporting criminals, in reporting their hideouts, because without any fear of vengeance or revenge on the part of the criminals. So I think it needs to be a very comprehensive activity, that a very comprehensive process that is actually founded on trust, because trust is the most important element of cooperation between different stakeholders when security issues are concerned.
All right. Now, you talked about sending a kind of message to these perpetrators of evil. What kind of message do you suggest? Now, there have been a lot of, looking at insecurity right now holistically across the nation, there have been quite a number of, suggestions. Some have said that we need to invest more in intelligence gathering so that our security apparatus will be more proactive. Some have said, why do we even need to negotiate with terrorists in the first place and pay ransom, right? While some have even suggested that citizens should be allowed to carry arms, private citizens, that is. What do you think could be a lasting solution, both in the long term, short term, and also mid term, to address this issue?
Actually, allowing people to carry arms is for chaos, as we can see, even in other countries. But then we have to send a message to those criminals. Yes, it is not. We can do whatever it takes to rescue abducted hostages, to rescue hostages and other people that are in the hands of those criminals. But the thing is, we need to ensure that those criminals do not live to enjoy the benefits or the proceeds of their crime. We need to make sure that they are actually, we can be able to flush them out of their safe havens. We're actually going to pursue them, that they need to have it in their minds that the long arm of the law is going to catch up with them sooner rather than later. So if we've been able to establish that deterrent, then it incentivizes criminal activities. Because the problem we have, to me, is not just the lack of intelligence gathering. We have the capacity, like the DSL, the police, they all have the capabilities to actually track, phone calls by kidnappers, to track their communication and everything. What we lack is the capability to disrupt their operations, to mount some rescue operations, to actually strike them where they are hiding, to flush them out of their hiding places. These are the kind of capabilities, and this requires equipment, requires training, requires some capacity building, and even motivation on the part of our security agencies. So I think these are the areas that the government needs to invest in order to ensure that our security agencies are properly equipped, well-trained, and properly motivated in order to face those criminals and ensure that our communities are safe and secure.
All right, Ahmed Musa Hussaini, thank you so much for your time. A public affairs commentator, once again, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Now, in north-central Nigeria, the Plateau State Governor has restated his administration's commitment in ensuring the security of both lives and property in the state. This is arising from the magnitude of losses recorded in the Christmas Eve attacks, which left scores of people dead and many injured. Now, Chizoba Anyonwe tells us more.
It is no longer news how badly and sadly locals in Bokos, Mangu and Barkin-Ladi local government areas of Plateau State spent their 2023 Christmas. This has left many people thinking of what the causes were, those behind the acts, and what the government can do to avoid a repeat occurrence. Governor Caleb Mutfwang says among measures to bring back peace in the state, the welfare of security agencies will be prioritized as a way of appreciating their efforts to do more.
I want to salute the GOC. Since he came on board, I have seen the GOC demonstrate great professionalism. And I have seen how he has been able to earn the trust of his officers and men. No wonder, I think the other day in Mangu, I heard some of them calling him game-changing. As governor, by the grace of God, I will do my best among the committee of governors to advocate for better welfare for our security agency.
At the recent event to host the governor, the GOC 3 Armored Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven said the Nigerian Army will stop at nothing in fulfilling their mandates.
We acknowledge that challenges exist. However, we shall not despair nor become despondent. We are aware of the sophistication and complexities that lie with current dynamic security challenges. Yet, I am confident that by maintaining our unity, cooperation, dedication, and the relentless pursuit for peace, we will overcome any obstacle that comes our way.
Meanwhile, victims of the attacks are still on the road to recovery, while the stabilized ones among them have been discharged from different health facilities. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
Nigeria's Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has shunned an invitation by the Code of Conduct Bureau over an ongoing investigation bordering on the alleged breach of the Code of Conduct for public officers. Now, spokesperson for the Bureau, Veronica Kato, who confirmed the development on Tuesday, says the minister's interrogation would be rescheduled for a later date, following his memo to the Bureau citing national assignment. The Bureau had invited the embattled minister over the involvement of his company in a 438 million naira contract with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. The company, allegedly belonging to the minister, benefited from a contract from the ministry. The Ikeja branch of the Nigerian Bar Association has held the 20th Gani Fawehinmi Annual Lecture in honor of the iconic lawyer. The lecture, which is celebrated every 15th of January, which marks the day Gani was called to bar, was a gathering of lawyers, vocal activists, civil society groups, and any others who, like the late Gani, are passionate about nation building and also fighting corruption. Now, News Central's Bernard Akede tells us more.
I want to say that the Inspector General of Police should be compelled.
Called to bar on the 15th January 1965, Chief Abdul Ganiu Oyeshola Fawemi, GCON, SAN, was a Nigerian author, publisher, philanthropist, social critic, human and civil rights lawyer, and politician. He spent the greater part of his life fighting for justice and addressing corruption, so it was no surprise to see others like him grace this occasion.
I am not a fan of secession. I'm a Pan-Africanist who believes that we should dissolve our borders and have Africa as one country, one nation. That's my own thinking.
Be very careful in demanding for state police. Please, please. We have a history of this in this country. You want to give state police to Wike? No, let's listen now. The fellow in Kogi, Bello. Yaya Bello. Please.
Rights to self-determination and agitation for secession in Nigeria was the theme for this year's lecture. However, most of the speakers used the platform to address other current pressing issues like corruption, insecurity, and the general state of the nation.
The people in my village don't want to secede to anywhere. They sing national anthem till tomorrow. They don't want to go. What they want is better life for themselves.
A woman called Sadia, I believe, was sentenced to be buried up to the neck and stoned to death. The man goes free in the case of adultery, but the woman, however, is buried up to the neck and stoned to death. If that had taken place, I would have jackpot a long time ago.
There were those who also used this opportunity to challenge the lawyers, telling them to bring back the glory days when the profession was held in high esteem, while on the side, members of civil society groups chanted songs of solidarity.
When I was growing up, if you see a lawyer, there's a panic. There's a sense of panic, a lawyer. We had just maybe 2 or 3 then. In Zaria, when you hear somebody is a judge, the disappearance of this trade has something to do with our not taking responsibility for our future.
The sum total of what we have had today is not that there is any approval for secession from Nigeria, but that secession must be recognized as a right, and the agitation for it must be to keep our leaders on their toes.
At the end of the day, it could be unanimously agreed that the lecture was one that the icon himself would have been proud of, while hoping the conversation here could take the country a step further towards achieving the desired change. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
Let's move to some health matters now, where the Pediatric Association of Nigeria has implored all states in the country to urgently adopt the Child Rights Act of 2003. The association said so far only 31 of Nigeria's 36 states have implemented this critical legislation to safeguard children's welfare. The association disclosed this at the commencement of its 55th annual conference in Lagos, tagged Ikwa-Akite and themed Beyond Strategies and Goals, reaching every child in Nigeria with optimal care. Speaking at the press conference in Lagos, the association's president, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, raised serious concerns over the nation's medical brain drain crisis, which is creating staff shortages and putting immense strain on pediatric staff and facilities. The association also identified the vaccination rates in the country as a major concern. It said 6.2 million children have missed almost all routine immunizations, fueling a threat of repeated disease outbreaks. catch-up vaccination drives, community awareness campaigns, countering misinformation, and also coordinated efforts involving religious leaders, community mobilizers, was prescribed as a way forward.
Our children, I'm sure you know, are our most important national assets, the key to the future of our country. Presently, the number for under 5 mortality is a staggering 102 per 1,000 live births. That's about 1 in 10 children die before their 5th birthday. And the number for newborn is about 34 newborn deaths per 1,000 live births. We therefore implore all states of the Federation to immediately domesticate the Child's Rights Act. We have an unacceptable 6.2 million children in Nigeria who have never received vaccines or missed almost all their vaccines. We need to reach every child in this country, irrespective of their location, with vaccinations and other crucial healthcare interventions.
The number of children dying in the world is highest in Nigeria. Every 37 seconds, 1 child is dying in this country. And the reasons are obvious. Our vaccination rate is very low. But going back to where I started from in 2010, today we are in 2024. And fortunately, with the support of government and Gavi, now that body serves to ensure that the whole world gets vaccination.
Well, as you know, the theme for the conference is reaching every child, right? It's optimal care. And that means we need to continue to advocate for proper care for the children. And it's not going to end just at the level of the conference. If you realize before, maybe in the last 1 month, we've been having press releases and press interviews talking about what we need to do to ensure that our children survive. Not just survive, there's a difference between survival and then living.
Coming up on the news, DR Congo hopes to push back rebels with help of South African troops. We have details of this and more after the break. NC Continental Prime continues in Central Africa, where DR Congo says it is counting on soldiers from a Southern African regional bloc to help it regain ground from the M23 militia in the lawless East. After several years of dormancy, the M23 rebel took up arms again in the late 2021 and seized vast swaths of Democratic Republic of Congo's eastern North Kivu province. Now, Western governments and the United Nations have said neighboring Rwanda have supported the M23 allegations, and Kigali denies. Of course, the troops from the Southern African Development Community have been discreetly arriving in DRC since the middle of December. They include soldiers from South Africa, a regional military heavyweight, Tanzania, and Malawi. In the meantime, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Rwanda's President Paul Kagame on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos on Tuesday. Now, Blinken said the U.S. is committed to supporting efforts towards a peaceful resolution of differences between Rwanda and Congo and avoiding conflict in the eastern DRC. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has long accused Rwanda and its President Paul Kagame of providing military support to M23 rebels. The latest iteration of Congolese Tutsi fighters to seize towns in parts of mineral-rich North Kivu. The United Nations and human rights group accuse M23 of atrocities, including rape and mass killings, and say it receives backing from Rwanda, but Rwanda denies any ties with the group. Official results released on Tuesday show Comoros President Azali Assoumani won re-election in the first round of the Indian Ocean nations election. Sunday's polls was marred by opposition claims of ballot rigging and a low turnout. But the head of Electoral Commission, Idrissa Said Ben Amada, says Assoumani won 62.97% of the vote. Now, Mauritius is assessing the damage brought by tropical storm Bilal as it rolled away from the Indian Ocean island nation, allowing international flights to resume. The storm has left thousands without power, flooded buildings, and caused traffic chaos, with cars washed away by a dodge of water or piled up on the streets. Now, earlier on Tuesday, Mauritius Meteorological Service announced it was raising its cyclone alert to maximum level 4. But at 2:10 p.m., it said all cyclone warnings have been waived. Now, the latest toll by the Interior Minister shows that Bilal has already battered the French overseas territory of Reunion, leaving 3 people dead. Staying in East Africa, prosecutors say a Kenyan court leader who was charged with murder and terrorism over the deaths of more than 400 people found in mass graves. As Paul Mackenzie was arrested in April 2023 after the discovery of hundreds of bodies, some of whom were said to have starved themselves to death. Prosecutors say he and 94 others will be charged in court in Malindi on Wednesday. Mackenzie has denied responsibility for the deaths. The bodies of 429 people, including children, have been dug up from gravesites in Shakahola, a remote forest about 2 hours' drive west of the town. Mackenzie is alleged to have encouraged members of his church to move there and prepare for the end of the world. We'll go on a commercial break. When we return, we have more stories. Stay with us. Perpetual Fasemi Peter has the day's business news.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In business, in a dramatic twist of industry dominance, Egypt has risen to become Africa's leading cement producer, boasting an impressive annual production capacity of around 92 million tons. This crucial announcement was made by Ahmed Samir, Minister of Industry and Trade, during the 25th Arab International Cement and Building Materials Conference. This conference, a significant gathering for industry professionals, it is. Minister Samir emphasized the cement industry's pivotal role in Egypt's rapidly expanding economy. He emphasized its invaluable contribution to meeting the critical needs of infrastructure and urban development projects across the nation. Egypt's cement industry now finds itself among the top 10 global cement producers, a testament to the nation's industrial progress and economic resilience. However, this dominance has not been independently verified. And in East Africa now, Kenya is considering a debt swap arrangement to improve its financial situation ahead of an important repayment deadline, according to confidential sources familiar with the matter. The proposed swap aims to allocate funds towards essential social services while addressing the nation's existing debt of $2 billion that is due in June. These sources revealed that Kenya is collaborating with banks and a select group of potential investors to examine the potential structure of this swap. However, it's worth noting that these discussions are still in the early stages and the details have not been publicly disclosed. Kenya is facing challenges in mobilizing resources to fund its budget, with a significant deficit and a high debt burden. The servicing of Kenya's sovereign external debt is expected to rise sharply, including the repayment of a $2 billion Eurobond in June 2024. The country is seeking solutions to manage its debt burden while sustaining economic growth. Gabon has emerged as the fastest growing shipping registry. According to Clarkson's research, a significant reflagging initiative by Sovcomflot, the top shipping operator in Russia, has propelled Gabon's shipping register to an outstanding growth rate of 130.6%. This growth is attributed to the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine nearly 2 years ago, underscores the evolving landscape of global shipping and the rise of the so-called dark fleet. The term dark fleet refers to vessels that operate under the radar, often skirting sanctions or other legal restrictions. The Gabonese flag, characterized by its green, yellow, and blue horizontal bands, has become a beacon for Sovcomflot tankers that once sailed under the Liberian flag. As of January 11, 46 tankers have been reflagged to Gabon, with more expected to follow suit. Over half of African nations will adopt the rules of the African Continental Free Trade Area after this year, moving the region closer to full integration into a single market. Out of the 47 ratified countries, 31 will join the Guided Trade Initiative, a significant increase from 7 in 2023, according to the AFTA Secretary General, Wamkele Mene. The trial phase included various products and services such as processed agricultural goods and manufactured items, leading to positive outcomes such as Uganda exporting excess milk to Algeria. The expanded pilot program will introduce a pan-African payment and settlement system using local currencies to address currency exchange limitations. Efforts are also underway to formulate regulations on digital trade to boost online commerce, with the African Development Bank projecting the region's digital economy to reach $712 billion by 2050. The AFTA, with a potential market of 1.3 billion people and a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion, aims to become the world's largest free trade zone by area by 2030, increasing regional trade by 80% to $532 billion by 2035. These are the stories we're tracking at this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasomi Peter. The news continues shortly. Do enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Bertrand Traoré scored a stoppage time penalty as Burkina Faso claimed a 1-0 victory over Mauritania in their Africa Cup of Nations Group D clash on Tuesday, writing a piece of history in the process. It is the first ever win in the Burkinabe in their opening match of the African Showpiece Finals and came at the 13th attempt, handed to them when Aston Villa midfielder Traoré stroked home as a sport kick after a foul by Mauritania's captain Mohamed El Abdul on Issa Kabore. In another game, history was again made as Namibia won their first ever Cup of Nations match as the Brave Warriors grabbed a late win over Tunisia in a Group E match. Of course, joining me right now to shed more light on this is News Central sports correspondent Favor Itua. Now, Favor, thank you so much for joining in. I mean, first AFCON win for Namibia indeed. The AFCON is full of surprises. What do you make of this particular game?
Yeah, interesting game, Dapo. First of all, good evening, Nigeria. We saw Namibia, put up an upset against Tunisia. Tunisia, on paper, they were favorites coming into the game. And then also you look at how Namibia are prepared towards the tournament. Majority of their players play in the South African League. You could see Peter Shalulile, and not forgetting Hoto. Both of them play in Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. And you could see the chemistry from the team. I think for Namibia, They actually brought in their game. They were stubborn. They were really, really rugged and dogged compared to Tunisia, who were looking forward to the tactical aspect, hoping to, create chances and score. But the defense of Namibia were very, very, very good on the day. I think the AFCON has shown that football has gone past the stage of having to, see teams just based on their pedigree. It goes to the field of 90. We saw what happened with Cape Verde and what, of course, happened with Nigeria against Equatorial Guinea. So for Namibia, it's a record for them. It's a stunning result for them. I mean, winning their first ever match at the AFCON. They've gone 9 matches without a win when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. And their points, when you look at them, they're ranked 115th in the world. 87 places below Tunisia. That shows you that the AFCON will be full of surprises.
All right, now, are we going to see new champions? Okay, I asked if, of course, this particular game. Okay.
Well, for the new. All right, for the new champions, I think if we're going to see a new champion, it might be too early to say. But of course, we have seen over time Senegal won the tournament for the first time, and that was, of course, some years ago. And if we're going to have a new champion, the new champion would also have depth in squad. Aside the fact that there will just be a bit of luck, but it's not going to be easy. We also saw how Burkina Faso got to the finals of the 2013 Nations Cup. Burkina Faso got there and did not win that tournament. So it would take more than a bit of luck, more than a bit of just having a good game. There will also be a part whereby you need to have experience in your team. So having a new champion, well, let's see how it goes. But of course, on paper, we still have the favorite for the title, and some of them that have been tipped to win the tournament. Some of them have done well, some of them have not done well. But we know one thing for sure: Nations Cup is not just about your first game; it's how you build up from the first game into the next game. And when it matters the most, that's talking about the knockout stages.
Now, Burkina Faso also got a win against Mauritania. What's your take on the game?
All right, the second game that, of course, we saw, interestingly, Burkina Faso left it late. So we wait to see how they galvanize from here and how they go past here, because, of course, we know we have one game currently ongoing, and that's, of course, the South Africa game. We'll wait to see how it goes. But interestingly, the Nations Cup is living up to expectation, as we are seeing what we love to see: upsets, wins, and, of course, draws.
Favor, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. for having me.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Up next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Welcome to entertainment on NC Continental Prime. Following resurfacing controversy surrounding the death of Nigerian singer Mohbad, his manager, in a statement shared yesterday on his Instagram account, said the police authorities had conducted an investigation and the autopsy results from samples sent abroad were expected to be shared after a few months. The statement also tackled the dissemination of false information, particularly debunking reports of a will or thumb-printed document. It was emphasized that neither Mohbad's management nor his lawyer had communicated the existence of such a document to the family or the public. The statement urged everyone to avoid spreading false and misleading information. In addition, Mohbad's Instagram managers disclosed that all accounts owned and controlled by Mohbad during his lifetime was placed on a post-no-debit order on September 12, 2023, and the restriction remains in effect. They assured that the account will be properly handed over to the family once the initial dispute is resolved. Following Mohbad's death, there has been a noticeable surge in public interest, evident in the rapid increase of his Instagram followers from just over 1 million to 2 million followers within a week of his passing.
I wish, say, I fit to reach you anywhere you day.
Nigerian singer Tubaba is also in the news. 2 years after the passing of his friend Sound Sultan, Nigerian music sensation Innocent Idibia, widely known as Tubaba, continues to pay tribute to the memory of the iconic artist. Tubaba took to his Instagram to share a heartfelt tribute reflecting all moments from Sound Sultan's illustrious career that had a lasting impact on his life. In the post, Tubaba conveyed that despite the realization of their shared dreams for the success and recognition of Africa and Nigerian music, he remains steadfast and unwilling to yield to the new cats in the industry. This post serves as a remembrance of Sound Sultan, who succumbed to angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma, a form of throat cancer, on July 11, 2021.
I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there.
And outside the continent, at the 2023 Emmys, Rob Reiner and Sally Strother took the stage to pay tribute to their former colleague Norman Lear and other television figures who had passed away since the previous ceremony. The In Memoriam segment featured a performance by Charlie Puth and The War and Treaty, who sang Puth's 2015 hit See You Again. The segment concluded with a rendition of Friends' theme song, coinciding with Matthew Perry being featured as the final name in the video tribute. And that is all I have for you tonight on Entertainment on NC Continental Prime. Trust Roy for News Central, back to the studio.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And that's a wrap on the news at this time. But before we go, another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Nyesom Wike has called an emergency meeting over worsening security in the FCT. DR Congo has said it hopes to push back M23 rebels with help of Southern African troops. And finally, we told you that incumbent Azalia Soumani has been declared winner of Comoros presidential vote. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422 Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dapo Adigboyi.